Awesome. Okay, welcome everybody. I have to tell you, I'm so excited because so much has happened since I sent the invite. And I think the invite was 2 weeks ago, a week and a week ago, like a week and a half ago. And I set the topic, and Kristen, when we met, I know I talked to you about relax and release, but I was like, this has really been on my mind. And I feel like it's been the thing that's helped me the most. And so I was like, I want to talk about it some more. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to talk about with it, but I knew it always works out. And sure enough, the universe delivered me a perfect example on Friday night. So I probably sent the invite to you guys. I mean, I don't know, we can check our text, but maybe like on Wednesday or something, not too far away. And then I just, wasn't giving it any thought. And then sure enough, and I'm like, oh, I see what's happening. Like now I have content. And I always say I teach from I teach from reality. I teach from what I'm living and not, from concept. But before I jump into that, I wanted to share, I wrote down some ahas this morning, and I like to start with those. Okay, so the first thing is, and again, just think about these. If something like resonates, maybe give it some thought. I know when I have a lot of conversations with people, I might take like one or two things that they say, and I kind of like sit on it, or I find myself, isn't that crazy? Right. Oh, and so for what it's worth, I just wanted to share, they were important enough for me to write down. And so if you hear something you like, I can always type it to chat, but, so I love this. Okay. So the creator, we're creating. The creator feels what they want. Most people don't. That is why they change the world. So I love that. A lot of people are just living from what they see and just accepting that and then moving on, but not us, right? We now know how to create our reality. And then we've talked about this, but I thought, here we go again. Ignore what's in front of you. That is the past. Once you ignore it, it will fade away. What is in front of you? So facts are in front of you. Your 3D reality. Those are the past. Those are previous feelings that have hardened into form. I love that. So what's in front of you is the previous feelings that you've had that have hardened into your reality. Ignore those. Focus on what you want. Those hardened facts, right, go away and are replaced by what it is that you want. I also heard this, that a lot of times what we want does not happen quickly, and it's not meant to. The universe, Earth, is a dense place with a lot of heavy vibration. So we can't move things, some things will happen really quickly, right? But other things take a long time. They're the bridge of incidents. All these things have to align. So I thought that was brilliant. It just was, I love the way they said it's previous feelings hardened into fact, or hardened into form. Okay. The world is your mirror. You see what you are. I love that. Change who you are and you change your world. And then lastly, you are not called to observe, you are called to assume. So I love that. So you're not put here to just observe and go, okay, I guess this is happening. What's next? No, you assume what you want is already created, and then, then we go create it. So hope something in there resonated with you. Thought those were pretty powerful this morning as I was writing them down and rewinding and taking notes. So, okay. Let's talk about that relax and release. So I just want to remind you of what the relax and release is. So when you have any, the way that I like to think about it, and Kristen, this is a little bit of a repeat for you and probably for you as well, man. But so if everything is working smoothly as it should, we should just have this like flow, this always upward flow of love and joy. Now, how many of us on this call feel that all the time? Yeah, no. And maybe like I'll go sometimes weeks without feeling, there might be like a pop of like excitement, right? And this is from someone that, I consider myself having a pretty damn good life, right? But it's just the reality. We have a lot of things that have blocked us, and those things started when we were little. And so if you think about this, like our natural state is this river of love and joy that just always rushes up, overwhelming love that we have anytime an event comes in and we block that feeling, I always think of it as like we have hands in there and we're putting, either with our hands, we're pushing it away, or I like the analogy of the river. Anytime you throw those rocks, those blocks into the stream, it dams it up, right? It makes those eddies, it makes rapids, it makes sprays. So it doesn't just flow nice and freely. It hits something and then, squirts and over here and over here. And so sometimes when something hits us just right, hits one of our blockages, we feel a little release. But it shouldn't be that way. It should just be a constant flow, right? And this is really what I'm like, yes, this is my mission, right? The surrender experiment is all about letting go enough that I feel this flow. I call it unconditional happiness. So it doesn't matter what happens, I can handle everything. So when something happens to us, something comes in and it's a reaction that we don't love. Maybe an example is if somebody brings up something from your past that's sensitive. What we typically tend to do is say, no, I don't want to talk about that, right? Or, we don't talk about that. And if you ever heard that, like, we don't talk about that around dad, we don't talk about that subject. It's off limits because it evokes feelings in us that we don't like. And as a result, we put our hands up, we put more rocks in there and dam that flow, right? So what if we could just let everything come in? And if we don't resist it, it has to pass through. It's all just energy. It will come in and it will pass through, but it will not add another rock into our river. Okay, so that's the whole idea behind relax and release. When you have those uncomfortable feelings, they come in, you take a deep breath. I always lean back because, when we're tense, we tend to be like, kind of in that fighting, like posture. You're lean forward. As I always relax my shoulders, lean back, take a deep breath. And it just kind of just work on, yep, I feel it and I want it out. I release it to the universe, whatever, feels right to you. So that's what I've been working on. I know that I've talked to both of you about this. Just give me a show of hands. Has anybody else worked on this process? And is it something that you find you'll do once or twice and you're like, oh, I forgot about it. And then I have to, like, life happens. You gotta get back on track.
Right now, I'm practicing it every day because it's the end of the school year and checking out 79 staff members. So I'm finding myself doing it numerous times throughout the day. And then, but I think once I get into summer break and I'm more relaxed, I will have to be more intentional about making sure I'm doing it.
I love that. Kristen, something similar. Are you doing it when you remember and then life happens?
Yeah, and yesterday or Sunday when I was in the pool, this isn't a professional example, but in the pool there were these damn kids in there that were splashing everywhere, and we were sitting there just trying to enjoy ourselves. And I finally I said to him, I said, hey, would you guys mind moving up there, please? And the dad comes walking over and he goes, do you got a problem going on here, or do you have a problem with this? And in the moment I should have just relax and release, but oh no, I get fired up. And I said, yeah, I do. And he's like, well, you guys are sitting in the kiddie pool. And I said, well, you're acting like a kiddie yourself.
Oh, shoot. Oh,
relax and release, just let it go. And then the kid kept swimming in between us, and at one point she's like, are you guys gonna stay here forever? And I said, yep. Are you? Yeah,
it just makes, like, even hearing that story, I had to relax and release because that brings up uncomfortable feelings for me of like confrontation. And now I think, what if I see those people when I'm in the pool again, right? I'm already projecting this forward. So I hear you. The beauty of this is that life is our teacher. We don't have to go around looking for, oh, please show me an opportunity to relax and release. It's more about, let me not get so taken away that I can center myself and remember, okay, relax and release, right? Okay, so not too far off example, and I'm actually not going to share the specifics of my story because I have moved past that, but I want to share with you what happened and how I worked past it. I think that is the most important part. So there was a similar situation that happened with, some kids, right? And instead of really, like, I felt myself getting all worked up and I should have sat back. And I actually said to myself, wow, Michelle, you're really you're having some strong reaction here, what I should have done in hindsight is like sat on that. And then what I always think about is once I relax and release, then I can look around and say, is there anything else for me to do? What happens is when we don't do that first, then we're reacting, not responding, right? So what I ended up doing was more reacting, which brought emotion into the conversation as opposed to just centering myself and then saying, okay, do I really need to do anything? If I do, what is it, pros, whatever. So that's not what I did. And maybe similar, Kristen, right? In your story. So I handled the situation as I think I should, but it was upsetting to me, right? Whether I handled it the way that I would have, or, that didn't really matter. The point is it brought up a lot of feelings. So as the night went on, in what I was doing, I was able to kind of, not think about it, wasn't talking about it. And then I realized when I got home, I was like, I need to process this. So I was up in the bathroom and I just said, I want to release this. And so I kind of, I said, like, because what usually happens is if I'm not able to release something in the moment, I like to go back that evening, whether it's in bed, I think we talked about that, whether it's first thing in the morning, and say, kind of do a catch-all for anything I wasn't able to release. I turn that over. I turn it over to you. Okay. So I did that. And I'm telling you guys, I was on such a high that night. Like it was, I did it in the bathroom, just kind of privately. And I said, I feel it. I'm going to release it. Okay. It was like what kind of that, like I clearly had released a blockage because although there weren't many hours left in the night, maybe only an hour, I was on fire. Like everything that I watched on TV was hysterical. It just felt like this is why we do that. It's called transmutation of energy. So instead of sitting on that awful feeling, I transmuted it to power, to energy, right? To love, to joy. And that is the high that people pay for. That was what I experienced. And then I had to go to bed and I woke up and that story came up in my mind again, right? So it's not like it was one and done. And this is why I share with you, because it's not like if you relax and release, sometimes I always think about it as like tree roots. We might have a million tree roots. Just because you relaxed and released one time does not mean that you don't have a million more tree roots there. So you might have a little bit of work to do on a certain topic. So in the morning I wake up and I'm still feeling uncomfortable about this. And I'm like, shoot, I thought I worked through this, but clearly I didn't, right? So I had to do the same process the next day. But what I did then at that point is told myself it's not happening in front of me. Now you're just bringing this back up, right? If it's not happening in front of me, it's not happening in front of me, it's not happening inside me. So stop. So I literally then had to kind of be hard with myself. And I say, you're ruminating on the story. It's over. And so it was like, I knew I released the feelings the first day. And then I had to tell myself, okay, enough. And that enough went on for 2 days. I had to do that for 2 days. And then this morning I realized, oh, yesterday I didn't think about it at all. And now when I do think about it, it's nothing. Like there's no blockage there, right? So I say this because I wanted you to see how I work through the process in real time. And when I was releasing those feelings that first night, I remember being in the bathroom and saying, okay, I want to, release those feelings. And then they started to get like really icky. And I felt myself and like the judgment, the blame, should I have done this differently? Did I, did it? All these thoughts came in, and then I felt myself wanting to kind of resist. And I said, no, 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 no. And I actually like went almost deeper into it. And that is when that crazy release happened. So I'm telling you, you guys, I just want you to practice this. And so my ask is that you choose one thing, just one experience. And even if it's something that's already happened in the past, you can recall it just by what I'm talking about, right? I guarantee you all have something that, you're thinking of right now. When I say, think of something in the past that evokes a lot of like ick, right? I challenge you. This is such a big opportunity to do that. When it comes up, let it come up. Let it come up. Cry, scream, whatever you need to do, but feel it. Do not resist it. Lean back, breathe, and it will pass. And hopefully what's on the other side of it is that high that I just described. And when I get a feeling of that high, you guys, I've now felt it twice in this journey, and it hasn't lasted, but maybe a few days. that's what I'm chasing, right? That's what it's all about. So, long story, but I appreciate you sharing or you letting me share. And I just want to ask, is there any, questions or comments? Did that bring up anything for this group?
I think it's a good reminder to just take time to focus on yourself before you let your emotions come in, because it's quick to react.
Yeah.
There's always little kids in the pool in every aspect of our life. And just taking that time to just really self-center and then release. Am I in
Yeah.
charge of this? Am I going to let this affect me?
Yeah. And that's what karma is all about, is the definition of karma is kind of what you throw out there comes back to you. So it's not necessarily like what you've done in your past lives or anything like that, but it's like, hey, when you throw out that energy of, not picking on you, Krista, but like that energy of your pool example that you shared, then the karma might be that, you go to interview for a job and that person is the hiring manager, right? Like that's what karma really is the energy you put back is the energy you get. And so I do like to think about, what is my impact, not just on me, but, by the choices I made, how am I impacting the people I talk to, right? Or the families, etc. So, anyway, it's the most powerful work. I cannot preach on this enough, and I will stop, because I have another preachy story that I want to share next. Okay, so, but I want you guys right now to write down, just to yourself, what is the topic that you're going to relax and release on? Okay. I really want you to relax and release on a topic, and I want you to just text me and let me know, just even a thumbs up. I don't need any specifics, but I really, I want you to practice this. And there might be something from, so I'll say this too. Choose something, because we all have something, but then also be really aware when an opportunity presents itself. I ask every day for the universe to show me where I still have room to grow. And I got this, okay, good to know, so when those situations present themselves, be ready, be excited, but also work on something that already exists. Fair? Okay, so I'm going to give you a second. Tell me when you've written it down, because I'm holding you accountable. Okay. Give me a thumbs up, Kristen, when you're good. Okay, I'm going to check in on you guys. All right, so the next topic that I want to discuss is really around the embodiment portion and 100K MJ. This is no surprise, I've talked to you guys about this, but we're constantly being challenged with how do we live from that end result. Okay, so if you really have what is yours, man? It's not Queenie. I think I named you Queenie. Okay, you're Queenie, but Chris,
I'm going with Queen.
What is it?
It's Queenie.
Queenie. Okay, or Queen. You haven't come up with one yet, have you?
Well, I literally I lay in bed at night and I think, what can be a clever name? And the only thing that keeps coming to me, you actually said, and it was Worthy K. So that's
I love it. Okay. We have Queenie and Worthy K. I love that. So why I'm thinking about this is, okay, so how, excuse me, the cost of drinking on my seltzer water. So how does Worthy K show up, right? And it's one thing to be on these calls and say, oh yeah, I'm Worthy K. And it's another thing then to the alarm goes off in the morning and I go through the normal routine and I go to work and I see the people and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot, there's no part of me today that was Worthy K. Maybe you remind yourself in the morning, right? So I really think about that a lot, because that is how we continually create more of the same. Some people and places might change slightly, but that's really like Groundhog's Day, more or less. So I have invested in a company to help me with my business. And part of what they have shared with me is a 30-day social media plan. And, I've known that I needed to work on social media, but that has been a big block for me, which is, so this also just goes to show how personal things are, because some people are like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to post every single thing about my life on social media. And other people are on my end where it's like, okay, what? And I watch these videos on how to, and she's like, unless you've been living under a rock. And I'm like, okay, I have, because I know nothing about, how to do this. So I say all of this because I am very aware, using that ACE model, I'm very aware of my, what's the word, like non-reluctance to post on YouTube, because I'm anonymous there. It just goes out to interwebs, and whoever sees it, no big deal. But now I have to create posts for Instagram, and that to me feels big and uncomfortable. And that's not the story that I want to have, right? That's not a great setup for success. I'm like, oh, that's big, that's scary, that's uncomfortable. I can't do that. So I'm coming up on this deadline, and this was yesterday, and I was coming up on this deadline of needing to create my content. And you guys, I got physically ill. Like, my body, this is what your body does. It is wired to keep you safe and in your comfort zone. So I last night had a raging headache and, like, just wanted to go to bed. I woke up this morning feeling no better. Like, thinking if I, had a 9 to 5, I would have to call in sick. Like, I feel like I'm just gonna, get sick, and I just want to lay around all day. So in the morning, my husband asked me, something going on. I was really quiet, and I said, yeah, I know what's going on. I've hit an upper limit. I need to post on social media, and I don't want to. I'm scared. And he, so it was nice. We had a good conversation, and he did remind me, which I love, because people are always mirroring back to you. And he said, none of this really matters, right? Like, it's all small stuff. And I was like, I totally get that. It's so, like, but sometimes in your world it feels like a big deal. So, and my body clearly thought it was a big deal. So I had to do something. I was talking to myself in the car, and I was like, listen, how does 100 KMJ show up? She doesn't, like, she gets shit done, and she has hired somebody to help her, and she shows up, and she confidently speaks, and she learns how to do it. And in 6 months time, if she doesn't want to do it anymore, then she'll hire out, but at least she knows how to do it, right? She's done it. And because I relax and release, I know that I can handle any emotion that comes up, because that's really what the fear is, right? There's no other fear than not being able to handle the feelings that might come from being judged, being rejected, being, failing, right? The only possible outcome of that is a feeling, good or bad, right? Nothing else. And so it's about recognizing that I can handle everything because I know how to relax and release. I'm like, actually, this is an awesome opportunity for me to now push past this. So I said to him, I'm actually really excited about this, because this has been a block for me. And I know if I can get past this, I'm talking about one of those highs, right? One of those highs is coming. And I said, no, I'm actually really excited about that. So today, again, thank goodness that I have some more free time. Yesterday I spent 6 hours. Today I spent probably, well, as long as I had to, between my work hours, creating, I think, 2 posts that I then had to take down and edit and, whatever. But now I know how to, I did it. I know how to post. I know what a post is versus a reel versus a story or a carousel. I don't know. I'm still learning. But the point is, I'm doing it. I'm doing this, and I'm doing it for, the next 30, 60, 90 days. I am asking for support. I'm following people. I'm asking them to like, repost, follow me. I'll be asking for people, to buy my book, etc. I'm doing this, and I'm doing it because I recognize this is an upper limit, not because of what I think it might get me, but because I'm like, this is how I grow. What matters to me the most right now is that I say, like, no, we're not doing this. Like, 100 KMJ, and that's where that Queenie and Worthy K, that's where those names come in. I talk to myself, right? Like, how does she show up? So it feels different. Like, and I would say, well, I hired Michelle to do my social media. you know? So I think of myself as like, I hired myself. So, do your job. You were hired to do this. So I have to tell you guys that I did that today. I posted a couple things. I have one on deck for tomorrow because I'm not sure how to like queue it up, but I'll post tomorrow and I'll continue to do this. And I already feel that high. And the kids came home, they were a little grumpy, and I was like, not me. I'm on a high, girls. I was like, our kids. I said, I was like, nobody's taking me down. And so I say this because not only do I want you to think about something from your past, relax and release, but I want you to think about where you have an upper limit right now. I know you guys can think of something, right? Kristen, when we talked, you mentioned a couple opportunities for me and feeling, kind of like what your name is, right? So where can you push yourselves? And I'm telling you, if I can do this, so how social media feels to me might be like, I don't know, what's something really big to you? To me, it feels equivalent, right? So I'm like, if I can do this, you can do it too. And I want to encourage you and inspire you to take a risk and whatever that looks like for you. So not only are you going to write down and you have the thing that you're going to relax and release, but I want you to write down one upper limit that you currently are at and you know it, right? Your body will fight you on it. It will make you physically sick. What are you gonna push past? What's keeping you stuck? So you don't have to say it out loud. You can if you want, but I definitely want you to write it down, and I want you to take one action, one small action. Doesn't have to be 8 hours on social media, but one small action to pushing past that hurdle.
Do you want us to share?
If you feel comfortable, only if you feel comfortable. Otherwise, I just want you to write it down, and I absolutely want you to work on it.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, yeah, yep. Do you have yours? Okay, what about you, Kristen? Do you have yours?
I have one, but I don't want to work on it.
That's the one you need to work on then. I'm telling you. I'm saying if I can do this, you can do anything. And you let me know if I can support you in whatever it is, right? So if you need some help, if you want, whatever, you don't have to share, but if there's something I could do to help, push you along, give you a nudge, help you with whatever, please don't hesitate to ask, because that is how and I want you to do it. I want you to really step into Worthy Kate and ask yourself, what would she do? Right?
Um,
Okay. Okay. Do I have your commitment?
I might pick a different one, but yes, you have my commitment.
Well, here's this. Start with one, then that you start with, choose one at least, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And maybe it's building up confidence to then tackle the next one, right? Because when you feel this high, you will chase the next one. And the best part is it doesn't cost a thing. And it will be this way unconditionally. Okay, so with that, what's on your mind? Like, do you guys have any questions on this content? I wanted you to have a little bit of time to see if I could support in any way, if we could talk through anything.
I've been taking some notes. You said something earlier in the class that I wanted to get. It's unconditional happiness. And then just looking at the overall every single day is just you had a definition for it and I missed that. But I think that's really unconditional is the happiness just overrides everything in your life and you look at that positively. Am I missing something on that?
Read the notes, what you wrote. Sorry.
Well, I put unconditional happiness and then there was a hyphen and I didn't get what because you had related it to something you were talking about. And it was right after you said the world is your mirror. What's in front of me, the previous feelings that I've had, ignore those, focus on what you want. And then you went into the world is your mirror, and then you're not called to observe, you're called to create it. I love that. And then you went to the relax and release, and then to the unconditional happiness.
Well, I don't remember exactly what I said. Well, I guess we could listen to the tape, but what I will say about unconditional happiness is that is ultimately my goal. That is what the relax and the release will get you, is that you can handle any situation that you're confronted with, and then nothing becomes scary. And that's ultimately why we're, not willing to push past these upper limits, right? Is because we're either, it always is rooted in fear. So it's either fear or love. So there's, fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of, guilt, fear, da, 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 da. There's always fear of something. So, what if we didn't fear anymore? Then we could handle everything, and then ultimately accept everything, and ultimately feel, unconditionally happy. So that's my synopsis. It's a pretty cool goal, right? I mean, I know that I want things in my life, physical things, but above any of that, I want this, right? This is like, oh, nothing matter. It's that, I always call it the love drug. When you're first in love, and I say first because that's just how it goes, like then life happens, right? But you don't need food, you don't need sleep, right? You don't need, you are on such a high. And I always say, if I could bottle that, I'm like, oh, this is it. And I think way more. You guys, this is it.
Maybe that's what Kristen and I should be aiming for. Is
The love drug.
we're gonna find a love drug this summer. How's that?
But you are your best lover. You are your lover. And I feel like I can speak from at least your perspective, Mandy, is that I feel like you are that. And then anybody that comes into, and I'm sure it's that way with you too, Kristen. I just don't know your relationships, that anybody that comes there just supplements your, doesn't become or doesn't replace, isn't the reason for your happiness. It's just like a bonus. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I think partially. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I keep thinking back about my response on Sunday, um and the comment about the energy you put out is the energy you get back. And it's that really has resonated with me. And when that whole thing happened, one of the gals that I was with, she had mentioned the book, Let Them. I don't know if you guys have heard that. But it's basically let them do whatever they want. Don't get caught up in that stuff and focus on you, just do what makes you happy. And anyway, I was gonna maybe get that book, but it kind of made me think about that if I don't react, then,
Yeah.
it's easier to continue on and not let it get to you. So,
And honestly, if you're still having like any feelings about it, that would be a good one to do the relax and release on. Because even if you're beating yourself up about, and when I say beating yourself up, I even mean that your mind just talks. Like the more aware I am now, I'm like, my mind doesn't stop talking, and it always has something to say. And I'm getting to the point where I'm like, girl, so I do mantras like most of the day because I don't want to hear what it has to say. But I would work on that part and say to yourself, like, it's not happening in front of me, let it go, release it. Because you also don't want to like be, it's already gone, it's already done. So
right.
don't
Yeah.
let that, yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that let them concept, right? That's yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know if you guys feel this way sometimes, but we go through so many trainings, and I'm endorsed in motivational interviewing. And so I have the tools, but then in the moment, it's like, I did not use motivational interviewing at all in that moment. It was just very snap.
Yeah, you were pulled away for a moment, and then when you came back, you were like, oh,
Yeah.
and yep, that I was too. So I hear you, it happens. But you are aware of it. That's most majority of the world that was just something that happened. They're still talking about it because they're annoyed, not from a point of awareness, like, okay, what I could have done, differently, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. That's growth.
I look at this as an opportunity for the next time you see them, that you can change the conversation and the reaction to the kids, and oh, it's so good to see you guys. I'm glad you guys are back at the pool today. And just that would change everything. And I mean, who knows? I just think just putting a positive spin on it, and like let bygones be bygones, and or maybe they'll take the hint also for the next time that they're not in that area. She likes a quieter area, so let's go to this side. And
Yeah. Or maybe just try parenting your children while you're at the pool instead of playing on your cell phone the entire 4 hours, I don't know. Just a thought. Yeah.
I love it.
Mm.
Are you girls ready for summer?
yes,
Not ready for the heat, but yeah, ready. Yeah.
we've had 2 days over 100. Well, yesterday was over 100.
Wow.
It was like 101 in Portland, and
They
Albany
closed
was
school.
102.
We were out of school by 11. Yeah.
Because of the heat.
Yes, because of the heat. I was
Suck it
like,
up, buttercups.
pardon?
Suck it up, buttercups.
Yeah.
I was like, Mama's got to do social media. This is cutting into my time.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Go
So
play outside.
Go play in the
Here's a cooler of popsicles.
That's right.
Stay hydrated.
hydrated. Okay, let me stop recording.